Yes, Murray mowers used to be pretty nice, but now they're using that Briggs and Stratton engine, which is absolute garbage. They can be characterized by the half-moon gas tank and the half-moon shaped air cleaner. When these things first came out, they were just known for running for maybe 2 or 3 months and then just ceasing to function. That's a real common problem. Now they might last a year or two before they just totally cease. Because they didn't put a couple good screens in either the carburetor or the gas tank, the main jet clogs up. And so it's almost guaranteed that they're going to be able to sell you another mower within 6 months to 2 years. I don't know, but I think Briggs and Stratton anymore is determined to fill up our landfills with plastic and junk. When you first look at the carburetor on these things, you notice that it's all plastic. Well, that could be good, but like a Chevy, everything made of plastic tends to fail and fall apart after a while. American cars are made to fall apart anymore. A Chevy will fall apart in about 5 years. These Briggs and Stratton mowers, I don't know, between the plastic wheels and the plastic front and the plastic rear, you're lucky to get 2 years out of a mower anymore. On the bottom, you've got this nice little plastic cover with 2 little 7mm screws. You undo the 7mm screws, and you have this nice little deal. This bowl. The biggest problem that these things have is if you look in the bowl, you see a bunch of sand. You see a bunch of dirt. Well, the problem is the screen in the gas tank simply does not clean out the sand or the dust that is in the fuel. So what happens 99.9% of the time is there's a main jet, all made of plastic again, which you can pry out with a screwdriver. And you have this little plastic assembly. It's a nice idea, except they don't put a screen on the main jet. And it's been jetted to be just the ultimate in leanness. So gasohol is not a good idea in these mowers because gasohol runs really lean to begin with. What these things do is that little tiny hole right there will clog up because there's no screen on it. And 99% of the time, this is why the mower stops running. So a lot of times you can just remove the bowl by removing the 2 screws and then sticking the little wire, which normally this little guy just pops back in. You can just get a little wire and clean this little jet out and then spray some carburetor cleaner in there and blow it out, and it'll be good for a little while again. Inside the carburetor is a little jet, a little pin, and the float that keeps the gas at a level that keeps it from flooding. You need to be careful when you tip it on its side that the little plastic pin, which is off to the right there, doesn't fall out. If it does, well, then you just have to put it back in again. Here you can see the pin that allows the float to pivot. The pin is right here and has a nasty tendency to fall out and on the side of the engine and fall down. Usually when I work on these is I'll set them wheels on the ground and then the pin won't slide sideways. But on this one I've gone sideways. Now it's time to put the bowl back on. The little gap right there goes toward the outside of the mower, because that is where the little main jet will go. You just have to put this little guy in here like this and push it in, which can be a stinker sometimes. And then using the screws, which hold the bottom of the bowl on. You can line it up and screw them back in very carefully. Now that it's back together, you can see that the fuel line just goes straight from the tank straight into the carburetor. The screen in the carburetor is non-existent, and the little screen in the fuel tank simply does not get rid of the superfine gas or the superfine dust, which is causing the main clogging problem. So what I like to do is to put an inline fuel filter on all the ones that I want to last for a while. This is the fuel filter that I usually add to my mowers and to those of the people that I do repairs for. Oftentimes I'll use a slightly bigger one. I like to use the clear ones because if any dirt collects in them or any water collects in them, you can see it very quickly, and you can tell if you've actually had water in your gas can or you left your mower outside and got water in the fuel. And there we have it. That is the standard fix for these plastic lawn mowers that have the half moon gas tank and the overhead cam engine. At this point, I would pull out the plug and make sure it hasn't gotten black, because a black plug simply won't fire. But you change out or clean out the main jet. I usually drill them out to 60 thousandths, or excuse me, down to a bit number 60 or whatever it may be. Slightly bigger jet so that it doesn't run so lean. And then I'll put in a fuel filter so that superfine dust, which always is in the gas, as you can see in the bottom of the cup here, that loves to fill the unscreened main jet, so that your mower is guaranteed to only last about 2 months, if you're lucky 2 years upon buying it, at which point you have to buy another one. Briggs and Stratton really loves you to buy their mowers. But until next time, hopefully you can get a few mowers going and they will run for many years.